You're listening to Those Dram Yinzers with your hosts, John and Zach.
Hey everyone, I'm John.
And I'm Zach.
And welcome to Those Dram Yinzers, where we drink whiskey.
And, changing it up.
Did I throw you off with that?
Okay. Okay.
Do you want to redo that?
We still talk about it.
Okay.
It's okay. It's okay. We'll see how this one goes. We'll see if people get upset with that.
I mean, it makes sense, right? I mean, when before we even started, when we figured out that tagline to start the show with, like, it was just bourbon.
It was just bourbon.
But it's not really. It's kind of evolved.
Yeah.
And I can always take a piece of black duct tape and yellow marker and cover up bourbon on the sign and put whiskey.
That'd be a great intro if this was on YouTube.
True.
But alas.
Audio's on YouTube, but that's about it.
On YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah. And it gets flagged every time. Where if we ever try to monetize YouTube, none of those will count because the intro music is pulled from YouTube. I don't know how. I'm not adapt. I'll have to ask Josh.
Yeah.
At the what's the copyright laws. So YouTube has free music on it that you can use in your videos and whatnot, right? Like in your editing process. Like no copyright law needed. It's free use, whatever. And that's what Aaron used when he made our intro.
Right.
But I don't know how to combat those. Not that we don't monetize YouTube at all because we don't have a lot on there. But I don't know how to combat that because it's like flags of copyright use or whatnot.
Right.
Not allowed to be monetized.
Yeah.
And I don't know what process to click and be like, no, there is no right, so I'm fine. It's
right.
fine. Because it tags the music. It says these,
Yeah.
But anyway, let's get back to what we're talking about.
Whiskey.
So yeah, whiskey. I tested it out. I figured we'd test it out tonight, see what happens. But it encompasses more than what we do. Mm-hmm. People were very confused at the Whiskey Fest because it said bourbon, but it was like, well, do you drink this? Yes. Do you drink this? Yes. Why does it just say bourbon? Because I'm lazy and I don't feel like changing the sign. Leave me alone.
It costs money to change the sign.
Yeah.
Thanks.
But so tonight, as you're seeing in the title, finally, almost a year later,
Woohoo!
We are going to be trying a bunch of different offerings from St. George Spirits out of California. If you recognize the name, it's because we interviewed Rob, who's one of their salesmen for the East Coast. I think is technically his region. He was at Whiskey Fest last year. Mm-hmm. It was their baller was our pour of the night or surprise of the night. And we tried to come other things that we didn't talk about with him on the show then because we had him on the show at the festival. Him and the amazing people at St. George sent us a bunch of other I can't even call it samples. They sent us full bottles of things.
Yeah, they did.
And just with our schedules and Advent calendar was right after that. And then the New Year started and it was just a hectic time. We actually haven't had a chance to sit down. So I feel bad. I texted Rob and I was like, we're finally doing it, So I feel bad, but now we're going to actually review everything that they've sent.
In a minute, we're going to feel great.
Mm-hmm. So he sent us 4 offerings. I already had a bottle of Baller, obviously, from last year. So we have 5 different things that we're going to be going through today. 2 of them aren't whiskey technically, but it's whiskey focused, if that makes sense. So the first 2 things we're going to be trying are their dry rye gin, and then turn it around. What's the name of the
Dry rye reposado gin.
Yeah, so basically they age it. I think it says, can you read what it says on the front? They age it in some sort of barrel. It's the dry rye gin, but then they age it.
Oh, Lord, I can't read it.
Do I need to pull it up on here? Will that be easier?
Yeah.
We rested our dry rye gin in French and American oak wine cask that previously held a Greenwich Rosé, a Syrah, and a Tannat. I don't know. I'm not a wine person. Because used rye is the base spirit of our dry rye gin, it lent itself beautifully to some time in the barrel. So he sent us the dry rye gin, which we'll talk about here in a second. The aged version of that, their B&E American whiskey. And then he sent us a sample of something, if we don't do this to ourselves enough, something we can't get around here and you can only get locally, and it's a limited release, yearly release. But another American single malt, this one is called Lot 20 for 2020.
2020.
22 is coming out first week of October. So whenever this falls during that, the first week of October, if you're near this place, you could probably get it. So we're talking about all those ones, and then we're going to finish it with Baller. We've already talked enough about Baller, so I figured it's a nice little end cap. Plus, with the tasting notes of Baller, I don't want to start with that because it'll kind of taint the rest of it. You know what I mean? Like, you don't start with, if you're doing peated and non-peated, you don't start with peated.
No.
You know what I mean?
It's very distinctive and lingers.
So we're going to be trying two gin, well, the same gin.
Two ways.
Non-aged and aged. But for their dry rye gin,
Yes.
they say that for rye whiskey fans and open-minded spirit drinkers of all sorts, St. George Dry Rye Gin is one to try. With a subtle nod back to gin's Genever roots, this spirit is all about the balance of the peppery punch of its focused botanical profile with the malty, velvety texture. So, this is all from St. George's website. This is 100% pot stilled rye. That's why it's called dry rye gin. So this is a gin for whiskey lovers, which is awesome. I mean, we've talked about, surprisingly, we've talked a lot more about gin than probably other whiskey podcasts. With this one being like a nod to whiskey lovers. And then they have the aged version of this. I'm excited to try this. What's the, it's 90 proof. Right? That's what it says on the site.
Yes.
Okay. So let's pour that. Let's try this.
Very good.
And while I'm pouring, do you want to give your
Gorgeous.
review of the bottle and such?
Do you want me to go bottle by bottle, or do you want me to give my collective review for all four?
Let's do bottle by bottle because these two are similar, but the rest of them don't have.
Very different.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so gorgeous. I think it's really beautiful. I like the line etching. I like their logo. I don't know. It just feels very classic. I like it a lot. It's very elegant, sophisticated, and refined.
Very much like, not antique. What's the word I'm looking for? Like old style.
Yeah.
Like,
it's kind of got that etching look. Kind of like an etched print. Very apothecary-esque.
very floral.
Very floral.
I mean, the gin typically is, but you know what I don't smell with this?
Pine.
Pine trees. Which I'm always for that.
Mm-hmm. No, I get some grapefruit. Yeah, it's very citrusy.
I mean, I'm searching and I don't see the excuse me, the pine. You know what I mean?
It's really, I like it.
It's a solid gin, 90 proof.
It's not piney at all.
No, not even on the taste.
I think it's got a fruity finish, sweet finish.
They talk about having a malty, velvety texture. I definitely get that velvety. A little bit of rye,
Yep.
kind of in the middle.
There's a little pepper in the middle, and then
the rye pepperiness. Yep.
and then it finishes smooth and velvety. Gentle hug on the way down. It's not super aggressive. It doesn't really. The warming feeling lasts, but it doesn't linger, if that makes sense. The burn dissipates quickly. You just feel warmed afterwards.
Yeah. No. Yeah. There's no like burn or like major hug.
Oh, that would make a lovely G&T.
So I'm actually not seeing this one. They have their Terrier gin, their B&E, which we'll talk about later. They don't have their gin on our website, or the other one, the Respondo.
Reposado.
Reposados. I knew I said it wrong. So, again, don't have it in PA. No, and as far as gin goes, we'll talk very little about gin. As far as gin goes, I would drink that straight. I think it would be really good in a gin and tonic. I had my dad try it
At your birthday.
at my birthday, and he really enjoyed it. And he loves his London dry gin. And I've been trying to get him to find local gins.
I really like it a lot, actually.
Yeah, he did enjoy this one a lot. In fact, for those of you that have listened to this year's Whiskey Fest episode, because he was on that, we got him to like another bottle of gin that isn't Tanqueray. So for you, Zach, the table next to us was Grace O'Malley.
Okay.
So Irish whiskey, but they also make a gin, and he absolutely fell in love with it. And since they were right next to us, we had the maple farm next to us last.
Yeah.
This place was right next to us again, and he had a glass, and he would just like tap the table or move his hand over, and the girl who we interviewed would come. They actually had tonic at the table too, so she'd make it. He just made him gin and tonics all night, and he was like,
"Oh, your dad was in heaven."
And then he walked over to buy a bottle, and he was like, "No," and just gave him a bottle.
Oh
of
my
their
gosh,
gin.
your
So,
dad must have just been beyond excited.
very much so. I was excited because I want him to find other gins.
Yeah.
Even if it's not local craft gin, something, just to to change it up a bit.
Expand the horizons. Yeah. I really like this.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I love that fruitiness. I love the rye peppery right in the middle. No pine, so I'm fine with that.
Yep.
And
I might have to say this is, that may change when we go to the Reposado. But I think that as of right now, this is my favorite gin I've ever had.
yeah, I would test out a gin and tonic with it.
Oh, yeah.
I have tonic, but we can do that later. But anyway, so let's move on. Let's go to.
Well,
go ahead.
Rating?
Oh, it's a Haas.
Haas.
If you could get it.
Yeah. Haas,
not in
Haas
PA.
if you can. Haas if you can get it.
Yeah.
A Republic if you can keep it. That's delightful.
Yeah, that's good. So let's say it again because I'm going to say it wrong. Reposado.
Dry rye Reposado gin. Yes.
So it's this one aged in all those.
St. George.
Yeah. All those fine barrels that we talked about. So
quite.
And what's the proof on this one? Is it?
This is 49.5% alcohol by volume.
So it's
whatever. You're the math teacher.
well, 49 and 49 is
98.
Yeah, 98.
And a half. So 99%.
There we go.
I does the maths.
In my
head.
Don't ask me to do mental math, man. I do it. No. Anyway, so this is higher proof.
Jeez. Well, I mean, that makes sense because if it's aged in wine barrels, then it'll be soaking up a little bit of proof from the
Some
barrel.
more stuff.
Ooh,
But also, I'm curious,
gross.
like what the exit proof is, because I'm sure they probably, proof it down. I don't know. This would be a good. So we got to get them on. I know Rob wants to hook us up and get them on an episode, so that'll be a good question for them.
fly out to California? Eh?
Hey, if they want to send us out there, I'll go.
I'll go. St. George. We'll come out. We'll visit.
I mean, I'm going to send this episode to Rob, so I know he'll pass it on. So
I'm excited about this.
if you're listening, we'll come out and visit if you want. Send us out there.
Let's just suffer through it.
Okay, so I still get some of that flowery, like botanical, from that I do with the regular.
It smells warmer. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense. I
It's
guess
not-
if
it's
you can
not
call
as-
liquid velvety, then you can say it smells warm.
It's not. The nose isn't as prevalent as it was with the other one, which makes sense. It's going to take on a lot more characteristics of the cask.
Yeah, it definitely it mutes that kind of. I think that gin in general, even when it's not very piney, does have a very kind of. It's going to sound stupid, but it has a very alcoholic smell. You know, almost a medicinal quality.
Well, I mean,
to it.
think about how.
Yeah,
I mean, we've
most
tried.
clear liquors have a medicinal quality.
Right.
to it.
I mean, we've tried stuff right out of like distillate from
Yeah.
like Liberty Pole.
Yeah.
Right. And it's definitely it's very alcohol.
Very
forward.
alcoholic. Yeah. I mean, the barrel really does kind of round off those edges. And I think you get that with this. I'm actually picking up a little bit, in addition to that fruity citrusiness that was so beautiful, I'm getting a little bit of brown sugar.
I just get the botanicals.
Oh my God, I love that. Can I take that one home? Oh my goodness.
See, I feel like when we tried this at my birthday, we did not like it. So it must have opened up a little bit.
I liked them at your birthday. I just remember at that point I'd had a couple whiskeys, so I was just like, we went from whiskey to gin, and I was like, whoa, it's like throwing the e-brake on the highway.
You could fool me that this was higher proof. There are some different notes to it with it being aged, right?
That's lovely, that is. I don't know why.
You still get botanicals on the taste.
Slight nuttiness in the aftertaste.
Yeah,
to me.
well, the rye I feel
finish.
like is more prevalent now throughout the palate.
The pepper definitely coats the tongue instead of just kind of hitting in the middle and then going away. The pepper lingers. There's something else to it that
I think I'd give this a Dantan. I'm not completely sold on it.
that's a house for me.
Yeah.
I think because the barrel, like I said, it really softened the edges on the gin, so it just made it so smooth. It really, whenever I think of gin, I think of it as kind of a cold drink, you know. This, like I said, it warmed it up for me. It just rounded everything out. I love the gin too. I would have both of these at the bar, and I would just choose which one I would want depending on what mood I was in.
Yeah.
I quite like that though. That was very good.
Yeah, I think I'd stick with a Dantan. I figured if you had to choose between one, right, and you weren't sure, try this one. See if you like the roundedness that it has because of the aging.
It's a house for me.
And I'm not up on my wine, so like I don't know what wine notes to look for based on what type was in that barrel.
I'm not great with wine either. I just, as somebody who is still a novice to gin, you know, I feel like if you're someone who's looking to try a gin and you don't normally do gin, this would be a very easy entry point for gin. This would be a very gentle gin to start with. And if you're somebody who does like gin, but you're looking to try a different spin on it, I'd still encourage you to try both of these. But if you're more of a purist, go for the dry rye. But if you're looking for a little something with a twist.
And again, this isn't in PA either. The next one is, but
Yeah. Reposado.
yeah. But all right, that's enough gin talk.
All right. Now, we do drink whiskey and talk about that. So let's...
So you want to jump into the B&E?
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry, that was more aggressive than I intended. Ooh. John, you never opened this.
No, I haven't. B&E, breaking and entering. American whiskey.
Breaking and entering. Don't break the bottle, Zach. That would be not good.
So from their site, what happens when the maker of one of America's most lauded single malt whiskeys goes barrel snatching in some of the most celebrated rickhouses of Kentucky and Tennessee? Breaking and entering American whiskey, a rich, layered whiskey that is as satisfying as it is boundary breaking. Breaking and Entering American Whiskey is our second release under the Breaking and Entering label. Whereas our Gone But Not Forgotten B&E Bourbon was our bourbon blend, B&E American Whiskey brings together bourbon and rye that head distiller / blender Dave Smith sourced and then blended with some of our own California malt whiskey. This blend brings together 4 grains: rye, corn, barley, wheat, with no one grain being dominant. While we can't name names, these are whiskeys from distilleries with rabid followings. We were lucky to sneak in when we did. Some of the barrels we sourced for B&E would be impossible to get today, but at St. George, we usually aren't content to leave well enough alone. According to Dave, as good as the source barrels were, it was only when I started blending them with our own malt whiskey that I realized we were on to something truly worthy of the breaking and entering mantle. They also have recipes for all their things on here too. But anyway, all right, let's get into this. Oh, so what was your moment? Like, what was your thought on the
the bottle?
the bottle
I thought it was gorgeous.
for the Reposado?
Reposado. I give it a gorgeous minus.
Oh, really?
For one reason only. That black on red font is so hard to read.
yeah.
If you want to show off what makes this bottle different, I had to shine my flashlight on the bottle
I saw you do that.
to at an angle to get a read on it. So my encouragement would be that font needs to go to white on that red. It's a deep red with a black font. It's just hard to read, and maybe it's because I work in web design, but that shit's not ADAS compliant. So I would just encourage. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous design. It's a beautiful color in the bottle. I love the red color that they've chosen in it. It adds. It gives you that sense of warmth that you get from the gin, but white font.
All right, so then talk about the beanie.
I like the B&E because it feels a little bit like a ransom note.
Okay.
In the best ways, you know, that kind of that thick, chunky lettering. I love a good, sexy, chunky font. And this has got this one's just like really fun. It's kind of got that like, you know, pasted together, like, you know, give us $5,000 or you'll never see your whiskey again kind of thing. And so it's kind of got that criminal element to it with breaking and entering as the name. That's very appropriate. I like the hit of the blue in the label, and then they bring that back in the tape on the cap. And again, they keep it very true to that St. George kind of a vibe with a bit of an etched look with the lock at the bottom. And it's also cool because they put the ampersand inside of the lock. And it's a broken lock, so it's broken and entered. So I just think it's very cool. Again, it's got very much kind of like, it's almost like a Sex Pistols meets a Wild West Apothecary kind of a vibe. So I dig it. I also I always appreciate some. I like the texture on it too. They've actually embossed this guy where it says American whiskey. It's embossed, so you get a little bit of a textural feel too when you hold the bottle. And with the raw brown paper, it also feels a little vintage. So I just think it's a very bold bottle, but it gets a gorgeous from me.
There's a lot going on that label. Like the label is full.
The label is full. It's it's a full label. It feels almost violent.
But do you is that like a negative for you? Like the fact that it's so full?
No, I think
like you don't think they did too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that with this label, honestly, if there was one thing I would do differently, and it still gets a gorgeous for me, but this these little oh my god, I'm a designer and I just can't word today. These little flourishes on the black stripe at the bottom, I would get rid of them. Just because it's the only delicate thing on the label.
Okay.
And so it feels a little out of place to me.
Okay.
I think that black stripe at the bottom with the thin white line in the middle, just to kind of give it a bit of a vintage feel, would be enough of a delicate feature. But these little, almost looks like a doily kind of effect on the bottom, just doesn't quite fit with me. The whole breaking and entering vibe I'm getting from this thing. Everything else on it I love, down to the batch number looks almost like an old time prison number that you'd hold up in the photos.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So a lot of detail and a lot of thought went into this. I just think those little those little loop-de-loops. I would get rid of those because everything else is so chunky and thick. And the whole purpose behind this label is that there is no negative space. It's aggressive. It's in your face. It's breaking and entering. It's going to break through the noise on your bar. With its very aggressive design. And I think it's great. I really enjoy it. Like I said, I would just, I highly doubt St. George is going to hear this and go, well, if Zach doesn't like the doily pattern, then we need to get rid of it. But if it was me, I would just get rid of that doily pattern and then maybe chunk out that black stripe at the bottom a little bit more, just towards the whiskey to kind of cover in that gap. And I think you'd be set.
And if you are listening and you're up for a change, Zach does freelance.
I do.
So what batch number do we have then? Because this is from last year. So what batch number did they give us?
Batch number 032019995. What that? 3,201,995.
Okay.
So over 3 million bottles of this, or batches of this,
Or if it might be like code.
might be code.
Yeah.
Prisoner number.
Yeah.
Maybe
I mean,
on the
this
nose.
is a whiskey.
It's a whiskey.
Nothing inherently sticking out.
Fruity. Generally fruity to me.
I mean, it's not dull, but there's no like major,
I'm getting a little caramel apple. I'd be willing to bet there's a little Buffalo Trace in there.
It did say there's some major brands.
Actually, the more I smell it, the more I'm smelling caramel apple.
Now that's in your brain. I get that too. I get a little nutty.
Nutty, a little brown sugary, a little buttery.
It's pretty light. I'm like looking at the legs and they're kind of running pretty quick. So
Proof on this Mamma Jamma is 86 proof. I'm excited to try it.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's a blend of bourbons and ryes and their single malt.
Yeah.
It's very layered.
It is.
I have hints of wild turkey in there. Normally I don't like wild turkey, but I like how this is.
Getting a little bit of like a cherry wood on that. A little malty.
Sweet at the front. Malt picks up. On the back end is where I get that the peppery of like a wild turkey.
A little earthy.
No real hug.
No. It's,
The back end stays with you for a while.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
Dry finish. Not
Yeah,
super
a
oily.
little bit,
Doesn't really
yeah.
coat the mouth.
Well, no, I could tell it wasn't going to be oily from the legs. They run pretty quick. Yeah, I don't hate it.
I'm not mad at it.
You can get this in PA.
Yes.
I have it up on the site. It is a special order, so you're not going to get it in sight.
Yeah.
Do you want to know the price right now?
Can I guess? 85.
$33.
Whoa, really?
Yeah. $33 special order.
I would do that. I'd do that.
I think this is a nice rounded whiskey. At $33, this is a Haas for me.
Yeah.
While you may find it a little flat, when you can't compare it to some of the big boys. You just can't. While it may run flat for some of our like bigger drinkers, I still think this would make a really good base for a cocktail.
I agree. I also think this would be a really nice whiskey to start introducing somebody to who hasn't really done a lot of whiskey. Because having been doing this for a few years now, and coming up on 4, Bottled and Bond year coming up, folks. Bonded in brotherhood. It's getting to the point now in my personal whiskey journey where I'm actually starting to crave a little bit of peat now and again. Like the other day, I was at home and I was like, I could go for something peaty. And I was struck with the fancy to go out and buy a Lafroig. Nice. But I didn't, because budgeting, but I wanted to. And 4 years ago, I never would have believed you if you had said to me one day you were going to want to go out and buy a Lafroig.
So you're going to looking forward to our Boggers episode then with Brian.
I'm actually kind of am.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how much different it'll be for me this year. But so this whiskey, I think, for me at this point in my life, I actually wish that it had the flavor that it has. I love the flavor that it has, but more of it. It's almost, it tastes like it's been watered down a little bit to me.
Well, it's probably definitely proof down, but it's also a blend of 4 different types of whiskeys. Well, 3 technically: bourbon, rye, and single malt. You know.
So I don't know. I love the flavor. I just wish that it was like maybe
I think this
half
for $33
more intense.
For $33, I think this is an excellent intro whiskey.
I agree. I would buy this. This would be a house for me
think
too.
this would
The
be a
price
good-
point's amazing.
Yep, I think this would be a good cocktail whiskey. Because it's not too whiskey forward, that it'll allow the other aspects of the cocktail to come through. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't hate this.
No, I like it.
I'm kind of mad I haven't opened it yet.
I don't want to say. I hope what I'm saying doesn't make it sound like I dislike it. Although I know we're within our rights to dislike.
Do whatever
things.
we want.
We do whatever we want. But I do like it. I just think that if you're somebody who's looking for like a really intense whiskey, this probably won't be your go-to. But I think that if you are somebody who is getting into whiskey, or you're just looking for a good sipping whiskey, or like you said, a good cocktail base, or if you're just kind of like, you know what, I need a whiskey in my bar that's going to be a good entry point whiskey for people who don't normally drink at a good price point, this is
that
great.
isn't Buffalo Trace, Maker's Mark, like all the ones that everybody
If
knows.
you're looking for something different, this is a great blended whiskey to have at your bar as an entry point whiskey at a great price point. So yeah, house for me too. Sorry, waxing
Love it.
poetic. Waxing. Now I am excited about this. The Lot 20.
Yeah, so that's what's next. So this next one is their single malt whiskey, Lot 20. Now, we can't get this around here. In fact, he only sent us a small sample of it. So every year they have a new lot release. Rob told us first week in October, the Lot 22 is dropping. So every year it changes. So we have Lot 20. Thank you.
You're most welcome, sir. I don't know why the British accent keeps coming out tonight. Probably just St. George.
This is their single malt. They said they released their first lot of this one in 2000. 43 ABV. So 86. It even says on the website, a very limited annual release. This is an annual drop, but it's local.
Yeah.
If you're not around there, you're not getting this.
So if they do want to invite us out at the time of the next drop, then maybe we try it on the show. Maybe we bring some home. Who's to say?
But so again, thank you to Rob for because I think it's out of his bottle he sent us. So he sent us a little sample out of his bottle.
Rob, you are a gentleman and a
sir.
scholar. And a fine sip of whiskey.
So what's in it based on their website? Lance's brewing background strongly informed our whiskey's mash bill using various roast levels of 2-row barley and elicit rich aromas of hazelnut and cocoa, and smoking a portion of unroasted barleys over beech and alderwood to add base notes and additional complexity. Additional complexity. I teach math, not English. I said Lance is one of their master distiller and the president, and a nuclear engineer.
Goodness gracious.
Right? So, yeah. So, this is Lot 20. Again, local release only. 22 is... so, 20 is probably gone, I'm assuming. And 22 is coming out in a first week in October. So, or came out in first week of October. So...
Yeah. No. Oh, come
I know.
on. Every freaking time.
That is a beautiful nose.
It's rich. It's complex.
Malty. It's vanilla-y. It's...
Apricot-y. Mm-hmm. Oh, that is a
You could fool me that this was a bourbon.
that is a robust nose. Very robust.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start dropping the British accent in all episodes because this has just been fun. Before I take a sip, I shall discuss the.
I've watched too
gorgeousness.
many things that have had British actors in it, or someone speaking in a British, like The Boys. I started watching Supernatural. I don't know why. I never watched it before, but dear
Yeah.
God, it's amazing. Like I start if you did you watch The Boys? Do you watch?
I've seen season 1. I know I have to get into seasons 2 and
Season
3.
2 was good, but like the main guy always, oi,
Oi!
that's how I yelled.
Dude, Ted Lasso got me to start anytime Logan's
Yes,
doing
Ted
something
Lasso
wrong,
too, yes.
because he's here, he's there, he's every fucking where I can, where I can. It's my first swear of the episode. Every time he goes, oi!
That's
That's what I do to Logan now.
That, yep.
Yeah, if
Yep.
he's on the back of the couch, I'm like, oi! Get down!
Between The Boys and Ted Lasso, because we're finishing up season 2 right now.
Season 3 drops in December.
And between the two of those, it's oi,
Oi!
it works. Whatever.
It does. Logan always is like, huh, what? Huh, what? Like the
All right,
spirit
I'll
of
shut up
Roy
and let
Kent
you do your,
compels you.
So we don't again. He just sent us a sample bottle, so you're just pulling up their bottle on.
It's
So go ahead.
very much in the same style of their gin. I think a little bit more elaborate. The gin has, a cocktail glass on the front. I can't fully see the single malt bottle, but
It
actually,
looks like
I
an
think
SG. It looks like a stamp.
looks like a stamp. There's an SG. I think on the other side they actually have a rocks glass, if I'm looking at it correctly.
Oh, are you seeing more than one picture?
This is what I'm looking at.
On the other side, like
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, that is what that is.
But it's that kind of wood etching kind of a look. Again, very apothecary style, which is very much in keeping with the whole vibe of most things that I've seen on the website and with their branding. It seems to me that they kind of go hog wild on their more special, kind of different. I don't want to say more special because this is very special. I mean, I haven't even tried
It's
to
a special
sip it.
release.
Special
It
release.
is.
But like their baller and their American, their B&E and stuff, those have got a very unique label.
Yeah, and-
but it's because those were very specific approaches to those kinds of whiskeys, whereas this one is this is just St.
let's see.
George being awesome.
So Rob sent me some pictures of some like PR stuff of Lot 22 coming out, and it's to say they didn't change the label or anything. The label looks exactly the same.
It's beautiful. I would be more than happy to have any one of St. George's bottles on my bar. They look stunning.
But
look
they
very
also
beautiful.
are releasing. That's also coming out the first week of October. The 40th anniversary edition of our lauded single malt is the most remarkable whiskey we have ever ushered into the world. So they're doing a 40th anniversary edition of the single malt as well. That I'm gonna have to get my hands on.
PA available? Question.
Oh no, it's probably only going to be local as well. I'm assuming.
I haven't even sipped this yet. I already know I'm gonna be mad. John, you're gonna be pissed. Take
Is
a
it
drink.
good?
Take a drink.
So I was reading. It looks like they go and it went into a bunch of different casks,
I'm not gonna say
or they
anything.
pulled from different casks. All right.
I've got thoughts, I've got feelings, I've got impressions, but I'm gonna wait until you do your thing.
There is a beautiful note on the end that I cannot.
Coffee.
Yes.
Creamy coffee.
Yes.
It's a latte. on the finish.
Beautiful malt whiskey on the front. Yep. Beautiful,
It's
finish.
fucking gorgeous. I'm so mad right now. We knew this was going to happen.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh my gosh.
That is a really good single malt. American single malt, which is in the news, by the way. We'll have to get Josh on here he knows all that stuff a little bit better, but basically what they're trying to do is get an actual, like right now, American single malt really isn't defined, like
Right.
how like Bottled and Bond,
This should be the definition right here.
Yeah.
This is so good. It's creamy.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's aromatic. It's rich. This would be a go-to bottle for me anytime I went to the bar, if I could get it here. John, I'm sad my glass is empty.
Ooh, Haas.
Haas.
I know we can't get it, but Haas.
I'm going to say Haas so as I cry into my glass. It's a Haas.
I mean, there's still a decent amount of our sample.
It's a Haas.
That's really good.
Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm. I've never had a latte finish on a whiskey before. Mm-hmm. Rob, my brother, you wouldn't happen to know of any warehouses where a few extra bottles of this just be sitting around?
I mean, if this is 20, what do you think 22 is going to taste like?
I don't know. But
Or
I'm
this
excited to
40th
find out.
anniversary one.
I hope we find out. Let me put it that way.
So, yeah. So, House on that one as well.
Such a Haas.
So let's end with our favorite, the baller.
Ballin'.
If you want to, I'm going to push people back to listen again. If you want to hear our full review of Baller, I don't know if you gave a gorgeous review for that one, which you can talk about the label today if you want. Go back to the Whiskey Fest 2021 episode. We talked with Rob. We talked like a bunch of times about this Baller whiskey, but if you want to learn more about it, go back to that episode and listen. But tonight we're gonna finish with this one because I love it.
So good. You start.
Okay,
I'm going to have to pour you a sample bottle. You're almost out.
it means I just gotta buy more.
Oh, yeah. But I've still got like 3/4 of a bottle at home.
Nothing wrong with that.
It just means I've got more to share with you. Oh, I can't wait. I've honestly been looking forward to this all day. This is a chilly, rainy day here in Pittsburgh today. And
I mean, crisp grapes, like green, like crisp grapes. I love this whiskey.
I just took a teeny skosh
No, you're
because
fine.
I don't want to. I don't. You
I
should
just
be
have
the
to go
one
out and buy
polish
more.
off the
That's
bottle.
all. It still floors me that there is no peat in any sort of this entire process.
Nope.
But you get that smoky peatiness on the end, and I just absolutely freaking love it.
It's so good. It's like a vanilla peat. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. I love this whiskey. I mean, obviously it's a Haas because it's
and
in
this is,
both
I
of our
think,
Haas's.
hold on. This one is not. This is the only one of theirs that's not special order, so you can just look on the website and find it. But it's $75.
That's why I was wondering if the B&E was 80 or 85 because I remember when I bought this guy, it was like $75. dollars.
No, the Baller's 75, and I think it's absolutely 1,000% worth it. Our Bogger
worth it.
friends, our peat friends, I think you would. I mean, it's lighter on that, even
It's
though there's no
lighter.
actual peat in it. You still get that smokiness, so it's on the lighter end. So
Yeah.
I think this is worth a buy for you as well.
It's
mean-
one of my favorite whiskeys. Just period end.
This is why it was our surprise and taste and drink of the night, or pour of the night last year because it just came out of nowhere. I mean, I told you, I almost walked by his table.
Yep. Oh, I have a whiskey. Rob, we're so glad you told us. This still, I mean, to this day, if it, so I'm doing this thing now where I only drink on the weekends because I have to lose weight. But on the weekends, whenever I walk, I don't know, go to the bar to get a little nightcap after the kiddos are in bed, I'm looking and I'm like,
I want it.
it's gonna be the baller again.
You know what else is available in PA that we haven't talked about since we tried it last year? The spiced pear.
Oh,
The spiced pear liqueur, you can get it
Really?
$33 as well on the site. Yep.
that was very good. That I remember that one. That was very good. That would make
And the green chile vodka,
that was also nice. I like that one too.
which
The-
makes sense because they had to be sold on the site to be at the table. But
right. The green chile vodka. I remember thinking that would make a bomb ass. You okay?
you're good. Keep talking.
Okay. I thought that would make a bomb ass Bloody Mary with the chili in there.
1,000%. And I'm not a big Bloody Mary fan, so. But all in all, I mean, St. George is a winner in our books, and if you can get your hands on some of their stuff, get it. If you can get your hands on their other stuff, get it.
Get it?
They have a whole, if you go to their website, which we'll link it in the show notes, their site is I love their site, but they have
The whole vibe is great.
They have some other gins. They have we've talked about all their whiskeys. They have the liqueurs, they have vodkas,
Brandy.
they have brandies, and they have like absinthe and stuff like that. So
They are masters of their craft and they know what they're doing. And this has been a most enjoyable episode. Real quick before we go, I do want to just talk about the bottle. Real fast.
yes, go ahead. And I was going to say once again, thank you, Rob,
Oh yes,
for sending us the bottles.
gentleman and a scholar. Mm-hmm. The baller bottle is beautiful. I give it a gorgeous. Since it is a California take on a single malt on a Japanese
California take of a Japanese take of a Scotch.
single malt Scotch. They have a very traditional style Japanese illustration on the front, which is very beautiful. I never have to look hard for my bottle either when I'm looking on the bar. I know exactly what I'm looking for. It's a very distinctive bottle, beautifully illustrated, beautiful artwork. So it gets a gorgeous from me.
And which I don't think he said this last year, but their master distiller Lance is the one that designed the label, the logo, and he said he reimagined the legend of St. George as a samurai. So it's supposed to be St. George as a samurai.
I love it. I love it. It looks great. It's a beautiful bottle. All the bottles get a gorgeous
And it was made for a highball.
for a highball, but I just need.
I'd stick a straw in this.
Yeah, I don't need anything other than the whiskey.
No.
Yeah. They all get a gorgeous. The one gets a gorgeous minus just because make that font white. You got a gorgeous.
Yep.
But and for me at least, everything I drank tonight is a Haas. I'd put every single one. I have one of them already at my bar, and I would put the other 3, 4 if I could at the bar. But
Definitely.
next time I'm out in California, I'm gonna have to tell Rach we got to make a little stop
A
at
little stoppy stop.
St. George and load up and just leave half of my check bag free.
Empty.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Well, before we go, for everything Those Dremyinser needs, be sure to visit thosedremyinser.com. You can find our social media links, our Patreon page, the order form for our hats, and the link to Zach's favorite website.
John, are you talking about dramit.threadless.com?
Why, yes, I am.
It's such a great place. I love it. It's so warm and inviting, and they sell you shirts, which you really need to go anywhere, these days. So, I mean, if you're really, if you're just in the market for a new shirt, even if you're not in the market for a new shirt, I'd still encourage you to go and spend your money there and help us put our kids through college.
And you put a new logo on there a couple months ago at this point.
A couple
but you
months
put
ago
a
at this
new
point.
one on,
There's a new one on there. It just says Dram Yinzer. If you want to show a little bit of your local pride in both your drinking habits and your town, in black and gold, of course. And I've got a few more things in the pipelines for the shop So
Nice.
keep your eyes open. Buy stuff.
If you're interested in sponsoring the show, want us to do an ad for your product, or would like us to try your product on the show, send us a DM or an email. Zachary, this has been a fantastic episode.
This
I
was
mean,
so
literally,
fun.
when you look back on our episodes, we haven't done a regular one in so...
I've really missed
You know, the
this.
last regular one was
What?
the Jameson Orange. That was the last time we did a regular show. It's
That's-
been festivals since then.
That makes me sad
I
too,
know,
because I
I
didn't
know.
even like that one.
I mean, it's good in a blue moon. I did
It
that
was
over
good
the
in a
summer.
blue moon.
But yeah, it was nice to just
But what does it say about the whiskey when it's improved by beer?
true. It's I don't know, it was just nice to just get back to our roots and sitting in at the bar, you and me, no Zoom,
This was great. I
enjoying
needed this.
some really good gins and really good whiskeys.
This was
Again, thank you to Rob.
Yes, sir.
Thank you to Rob, and thank you to friends at St. George for sending us these bottles.
if you can get it in PA,
Buy
get
it.
it. You won't be sorry, and your bar will be better for it.
Any other final thoughts, Zach?
I really wish that Lot 20 was in America. I almost said in America.
In PA.
In PA. In my America. Pennsylvania, America.
Well, I guess there's only one thing to do. Zachary, sir. Cheers to you.
John, my brother. Cheers to you.
And
And cheers to the ends.